Michelle, you've just launched a new firm, Pax VC. You've raised $50 million. You're looking at early stage. But I'm really interested in just this moment that we're in of geopolitical tension, of conflict. And you as an investor in defense tech, but more broadly in supply chain and American dynamism, what do you make of this moment?
Yeah, I think the conflict has really highlighted the gaps that we have in our industrial base. We've outsourced a lot of our manufacturing overseas to China, and now we're realizing we need to be able to resupply our weapon systems, our components. We need to manufacture these things domestically in-house. We need to shore up our critical minerals supply chain. And so many of the companies that I'm investing at and looking at, whether back at Andreessen Horowitz or now, are really focused on this industrial base and making sure that we can, in any sort of future conflict, have the capabilities domestically to be able to fight back.
I mean, the name says it all, because Pax, we think of Pax Britannica or Romana or Pax Americana, of like sort of the dominance of one particular global force and the stability that brings. But you've talked about how in this competitive area that we're currently in, maybe Pax Americana isn't so solid, but you're looking at Pax Technica. So where in particular are you excited about? Which particular technology innovations have you found it worth to put your money in?
Totally. And I mean, I think the name Pax, like you said, says it all, where the eras of relative stability have been defined by who is in power and who has the most technological power. And I think for us in America to be able to ensure continued relative stability in the world, we need to make sure our robotic systems are incredible, our supply chain, and our ability to mine and refine critical minerals. I invested in a mining company called Mariana Minerals that's working to reshore all of our capacity to bring all of these critical minerals to the industrial base. I think looking around corners, what should we prepare against for future threats? We should be looking at biosecurity and biodefense. We should be looking at all sorts of things on the AI and what that does for cybersecurity. And so I think there's an element of like, how do we reshore and reindustrialize, and how do we see around corners for what are the threats coming next?
Michelle, hi, it's Ed. It's good to see you. Welcome, to the show. Go back to basics just for a second. So you were at Andreessen Horowitz, and you were part of this American Dynamism team, and the thesis was like simply supporting the national interest. And you've decided to go out and do something almost solo, right? And I just wonder if you reflect a little bit on the decision-making behind that, the pros and cons of going from such a big team within a big firm to doing this with Pax.
Totally. And Andreessen Horowitz is an incredible place. Like some of the the most brilliant people, lots of scale. But I love the early stage, and I love the sort of 0 to 1 when companies are just getting off the ground. And at that point, you don't quite need the firepower of a big multi-stage. You almost need a trusted partner in the trenches with you, helping like block and tackle for all the small things of like getting a company off the ground. And then you can bring in these big multi-stage firms that have all these resources to really pour gasoline on the fire that starts burning. And so it's just my favorite stage to be, and I love being really, really close with the founders there.
Without putting words in your mouth, you talk about this idea that often the founders themselves are kind of ahead of the VCs that are backing them, even if they're like, VCs that have the operator background or the founder background. How are you going to catch up? How are you going to put yourself in a place where you are moving at the same rhythm or pace as the people you want to back?
Totally. I would say my style of founder that I like is somebody that has a lot of experience in the domain they're going after and a sort of unique view or unique right to win, even if that is a category that hasn't yet been mainstream or people have seen. Like the founders should be the ones dictating what is the future. And if you start to see patterns of, okay, a lot of smart people are working in this category, it feels like even if I haven't seen it, like they are seeing something and I should really spend more time and get up to speed. But really it's all about like having a network of experts in these domains to be able to bounce things off of and get the ideas solidified. But like the founders should be the smartest people in the room. Venture capitalists should not be.
Michelle, just really, really quick, did you take any portcos with you? Like how does that work? We just have 15 seconds.
I invested through my fund in some of my old Andreessen Horowitz portcos, which was a very big honor for them to want me back on their cap table.